Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Inside Gun with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. Yesterday, if you remember, if you actually watched my video yesterday, you might remember I said something along the lines of, I do agree there should be common sense gun laws. Well, that confused a lot of people. Well, not a lot, but a few. They think that I was saying that I agree with some gun laws, like actual laws on the books about who can own guns, etc. If you paid attention in that video, I was being facetious because, and I know that's a big word for some people out there. It might make your head hurt a little bit. It makes mine hurt, to be honest. I did actually look that word up before I started this. I actually knew that word, surprisingly. But, hey, I went to college. I'm college educated, you know. But I was being facetious because I said right afterwards, and what I mean by common sense gun laws is, you know, don't point it at anything you don't want to destroy, including your own penis. You know, handle safely. Don't do stupid shit with it. If you hurt somebody with it unintentionally, you're responsible. If you hurt somebody with it intentionally, you better have a good reason. Basically, what I consider common sense gun laws are the laws of safe handling that are on every individual owner. It's up to them to exercise good judgment and careful handling when handling a firearm. To me, those are the common sense laws of firearms. I don't agree with any gun laws on the books other than laws that say things like, you know, I guess if you shoot someone accidentally, you're responsible. Or possibly if you commit a crime with a firearm, well, you're going to be charged for that crime. But other than that, there should be no limits on who owns what, as far as I'm concerned. It's kind of contrary to our whole way of life in this country. We're based on a constitution that has a Second Amendment, you know, the Second Amendment. There was only one that came before it. So it must be pretty important that there be no infringements on who owns firearms. So when I was saying common sense gun control, I meant there should just be common sense rules for handling a firearm. But it's up to each individual person. That's the laws of firearms. A lot of people call them the four laws, but I don't really like those laws all that much. I love people who say they follow the four laws, but then they appendix carry. But there's a couple of the laws people get wrong, like, you know, always treat a gun like it's loaded. You can't do that. But if you always treat a gun like it was loaded, how you go fucking clean it or inspect it? So it's always treat a gun as if it's loaded until you have personally verified otherwise. And then if it leaves your possession, you do that again. Some people go a little overboard on the always treat a gun like it's loaded. Like you could be doing a gunsmithing video and you can look down the barrel to check the rifling and they're like, oh my God, you pointed a gun at yourself. It's like the frame's off of it, dumbass. So I can see all the way through it. But that's what I was trying to say yesterday. Some people, most people got it. I'd say 98% of the people got it. But I got a couple people sending me emails like, oh, I can't believe you believe in gun laws and you believe in the common sense gun laws. Who gets to determine what's common sense? Well, I think, you know, not doing something really stupid with your gun is common sense. That's what common sense means. Most people can agree on it. But that doesn't have anything to do with legislation on guns. I don't believe in any legislation. I don't believe in background checks. I don't believe in any of that stuff. And I know a lot of people say, so that means you're a monster that thinks everyone should just be able to own a gun. Not everyone. I don't think children should be allowed to buy guns, but I don't think children should enjoy most rights. And in fact, I think it should be up to us as parents whether they survive childbirth up until about the age of 16, 17 years old. And after my 17-year-old just wrapped his car around a tree this week, his grandma sent a letter and say, well, at least he didn't get hurt and he survived. I was like, well, so far, I haven't actually determined whether he's going to survive or not yet. But also being a little facetious there, I'm not really going to kill my 17-year-old just so people understand that. Because some of you obviously don't get stuff like that. But I was just saying, you know, I don't believe in any gun laws whatsoever. Like I said, I don't believe children should have them, though. And I don't think people that are locked up in prison should have them. I don't think you should be able to take your gun to prison. When you're in prison, you shouldn't have access to guns. If you had guns when you went into prison and you get back out, well, then you should have access to your guns again, because as soon as you get out of prison, you should have all your rights back as far as I'm concerned. As soon as you've paid your debt, okay, you're a citizen again. You get your right to vote, you get your right to free speech, you get your right to firearms. You've been rehabilitated. That's what prison's supposed to be about, right? Rehabilitation. So, no, I don't agree with gun laws. I was being a little facetious, like I said, being a little silly, and then qualifying it by saying, and those common sense gun laws are, don't point the end with the hole in it at yourself. Don't point the gun itself while it's loaded at anything you don't want to shoot or kill, like I said, including your penis. And be responsible. If you leave a loaded gun on a table and you have a toddler in the house and they pick up the gun and kill themselves or someone else with it, I think you should be responsible. But I think you should be responsible if you leave any dangerous thing, like if you leave your car running and your toddler gets in it and pops the brake and runs over the neighbor. You should be responsible for that because you're responsible for the actions of that child. Or if they just pop the brake and run to a tree and kill themselves in the car, you're responsible for that. You should face negligence charges for that. That's not gun specific. That's just responsibility. And that's kind of the way I think gun laws are. The laws of gun ownership are be a responsible gun owner. Treat the gun with respect. Take the time to learn your gun and how it works. Learn the ins and outs of it. Because when you understand a gun, then you're less likely to have a mistake with that gun. So that's what I was saying, that the common sense gun laws, as far as I'm concerned, is just the owner taking the time to make themselves familiar with their gun and treating that gun with some respect. And that's really the only gun laws we need in this country. All right, everybody, now that I've cleared that up, I want to move on to my favorite part of the show, gun talk. And today I want to talk about Smith & Wesson. Not the guns themselves, but the manufacturer. If you're not aware, after 169 years in Massachusetts, Smith & Wesson is moving to Tennessee, which I'm sure a lot of people are like, wow, that's great. You know, and I'm okay with it myself, although I am a little sad that all the new guns now are going to smell like Copenhagen and Mountain Dew. But I guess it could be worse. They could have moved to Arkansas and they could all smell like, malt liquor and incest. But they're moving their manufacturing, or at least part of their manufacturing. They do have plants in other places, and they are going to keep some production in Massachusetts, but they're moving their headquarters and some production to Tennessee. And I'm like, okay with it, but I've got mixed feelings. And here's why I have mixed feelings about it. Because I understand when a gun company wants to move to a state that's more friendly to them. And I think it always looks bad when a gun company stays in a state that gives them exemptions but doesn't treat every other gun owner well, like Massachusetts. So I can understand them wanting to move to a more gun-friendly state like Tennessee, definitely more gun-friendly than Massachusetts. But then again, I always feel like, well, when you've got that much history in a place and you got that much clout in a place, you should stay there and use it to fight the gun laws. It's kind of the same way I feel about people who live in a state like California. I mean, if you just don't have any tie to California whatsoever, move. I'm fine with that. I'm not going to call you, you wimp, you should have stayed and fight. But if you've got ties to California, it's where you're born, it's where you want to stay, then fight for your rights. And that's kind of like what I feel a lot of manufacturers should do. If they're in a state, they've got a lot of power, a lot of clout, they know a lot of the politicians, they should use that clout to help everyone in the state. But it's not always possible. So when it's not possible, I understand wanting to move your headquarters to someplace a little friendlier. Now, I also do have a little bit of another, not worry, but a little bit of a thing in the back of my head saying, well, that's probably not the only reason you're moving that is more gun friendly, is because Tennessee is a right to work state. And if you're not familiar, I always get right to work and at will backwards. But in case I say this backwards, just think the opposite of what I'm saying. But in a right to work state, you can't be made to join a union. Unions have less power in right to work states. In at will states, unions have a lot more power to make agreements with employers, etc. And also, since it is an at will state, most employees want to be part of a union. So they have protections of their salaries, their positions, their blah, blah, blah. because in a right-to-work state, not only can you not be made to join a union, but you don't have as many perks. Let's just say that. If you look at the states that are right-to-work states, it's pretty much all the lowest standard of living states, with the exception of like West Virginia and Ohio. West Virginia, really, because West Virginia is really bad standard of living. But they're a state where unions are very strong because of the coal mines, the original rednecks. Those are the people who fought for the unions. And because of that, they actually made decent money and not just go down in a hole and die for next to nothing. So and I would never do that job. So I think they deserve everything they asked for. I've been in one coal mine in my life. I lasted like 15 seconds, freaked the fuck out, and had to get out of there. That elevator ride back up was painful emotionally. So give them what they want. But like I said, I'm getting off topic here really bad. But Tennessee, like I said, is a right-to-work state, so that would protect their manufacturing from unionization, although they're only going to have like 750 employees in Tennessee, so I'm probably being a little cynical there. It's not going to be a ton of people, but it is like a $125 million, I think they said, investment in the state. The state's going to get $125 million just from them coming there, and 750 jobs. 750 jobs in a county is nothing to sneeze at. That could probably be the largest employer in the county. So I guess congratulations to that county in Tennessee, which I don't remember the name of. I'm sure it's something bumfucker, town, or, lazy bastardville or something, because I've been to a lot of places in Tennessee. Smells like cheese for no reason, Tennessee. Those are all good names for counties in Tennessee. But just want to let everyone know, in case you weren't aware, Smith & Wesson, after, like I said, 169 years of being headquartered in Massachusetts, they're moving out. Now, you might have mixed feelings about that. You might think they should have stayed there and tried to change the laws in their state. You might think, good, it's finally a good thing that they're moving out of that state and getting into a more gun-friendly state. But I just wanted to let you know what's happening. I think they're going to keep making the revolvers in Massachusetts, but they're going to move like semi-auto production and stuff down there as well. And they have another plant or two, but I think they're closing one. I own stock in the company. You think I'd pay better attention? I've got 50 shares. Like that, maybe no, 200 shares. But the shares are low price, so it doesn't matter. Doesn't mean much. It's like you could either own 50 shares of Smith & Wesson or a tenth of a Bitcoin. It's kind of the equivalent thing. So I just want to let everyone know that Smith & Wesson, after 169 years, is moving. There might be a lot of different reasons behind it, but the act in itself is kind of a big deal. All right, everybody, I want to end the show today now with our viewer EDC of the day. And today we have Felix P. And I assume that is his real name and not an assumed name, because who would assume the name Felix? And he is carrying a .44 Magnum Vaquero. Nice single-action Vaquero. Beautiful guns. If you've never had one, they're just beautiful guns. This one looks like it's a high polish. It's got the faux ivory grips on there. At least I assume those are faux ivory, and that he's not a frickin' monster. He can feel free to let me know if he is a monster, but I assume those are faux ivory. And he's got it in his Gibson Leatherworks holster. This is a beautiful holster. I love the juxtaposition of the black shark skin with the lighter leather, the more caramel colored leather. Really beautiful holster. I mean, and he's got a matching speed strip pouch to go with it. Beautiful setup there. Now, this is usually the part of the video here where I would make fun of the fact that, since they're one of my viewers, they don't have an ass. But Felix looks like he has an ass. In fact, he looks like he brought enough for the whole class. He's being very generous there. So can't make fun of that right there. But I just wanted to show him because, like, it's so rare to see someone carrying a single action gun. It's really rare, to be honest, because they just don't see it anymore. And I love single actions. And if someone's carrying a single action gun, I'm not going to say, you don't have a proper gun. Be like, more power to you, or Wyatt Earp, whatever your name, whoever you are, because I think it's a great choice, and that's why I wanted to show Felix P. here with his .44 Magnum Ruger in his Gibson Leatherworks holster, because I think this is pretty cool. All right, everybody, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you come back again on Monday. Until then, I just want to sign off as usual by saying, as far as the state of the world today is concerned, it is what it is. It could be a lot worse, but it could still be better. And if we as a community start to ignore the fear mongers, the profiteers, the fake activists, the people who want to manipulate you with fear and anger just so they can profit off you, and people who give lip service to the Second Amendment but really work against it so they can profit off of you, if we start to ignore those people, what things will be for people who value the Second Amendment and freedom in general in the very near future is better.